Hello and welcome to another episode of LGR Play. I'm Mark Hamer and today I'd like to talk about some of the hidden gems on Xbox Game Pass. Now, a lot of buzz around the Game Pass is generated by the fact that a lot of big name AAA games make their way onto the service not that long after release, and the fact that all first party Xbox exclusives have debuted on Game Pass since the service has launched, most recently of course being Gears of War 5, which is excellent and I will hopefully talk about in another video. But in this video I want to concentrate on the less high profile games that I think are more suited to lapsed gamers who don't have the time to sink into a massive AAA title, or people like me who need something short and sweet to delve into between mammoth Destiny sessions. So here are 5 gems that have recently made their way onto Game Pass.
Just 4 left!
First up, a little title that isn't quite so low profile, Bloodstained Ritual of the Night. One of the highest profile crowdfunded games of recent years, Bloodstained is the brainchild of Koji Igarashi, the man behind one of the most revered Metroidvania games of all time, Castlevania Symphony of the Night. When Konami wouldn't let him make a new Castlevania game, Koji took to Kickstarter and crowdfunded this spiritual successor to Symphony of the Night, which will be very familiar to anyone who has played that classic. Although the graphics may have advanced significantly, the gameplay is just classic Castlevania. Challenging but fair combat, tons of hidden secrets, puzzles, and as per the genre, backtracking to access previously inaccessible areas. Although the game is roughly 20 hours long, or longer if you complete the myriad of side missions and get deep into the crafting system, the distance between the all-important save rooms is usually quite short, so the game can be played in bite-sized chunks when you've got 10 to 15 minutes to spare, although longer play sessions are advised if you want to really get into a flow. Speaking of Metroidvanias, one of my favourite recent twists on the genre is Yokushin Express. A cross between the classic Metroidvania genre and pinball, Yokushin Express doesn't have a jump button or any attack buttons. All you do is roll the protagonist's dung ball around and operate the various flippers to navigate the twisting tunnels and pinball stages that make up the island. In true Metroidvania fashion, along the way you'll pick up tools that will let you pass previously inaccessible areas, such as a party horn to spin paper wheels or wake sleeping residents blocking your path, or a hoover to suck up slugs and use them to blow up boulders. With a beautiful presentation, charming characters, a wonderful soundtrack, and truly addictive gameplay, Yokushin Express is a wonderful twist on a classic genre and one that is perfect for a lapsed gamer. It also has quite possibly my favourite late title card reveal of any game. Speaking of pinball, Creature in the Well weaves pinball mechanics into a game that combines dungeon crawling and tennis mechanics to create something really quite unique. The first thing that grabs you about Creature in the Well, aside from the gorgeous art direction, is that what seems like a traditional hack and slash dungeon crawler doesn't have any enemies to hack and slash. Instead, you use your weapons to knock balls of energy around, bouncing them off angled kickers and circular bumpers to gather enough charge to unlock the next door and progress into the next puzzle room. Just like many other dungeon crawlers, there are hidden rooms to unlock and new weapons and clothing to discover, but the gameplay makes it so distinct from pretty much any other title in the genre. What starts as a quite simple mechanic becomes increasingly frantic the further into the game you delve, with energy balls having to be struck at kickers and bumpers with precise angles, swiftly, while dodging incoming fire from turrets. A challenging but rewarding kinetic puzzler, Creature in the Well will challenge your dexterity and problem-solving skills at the same time, but a generous checkpointing system means you can play this game in as bite-sized a chunk as you can spare the time for. Speaking of dungeon crawlers, one of my favourite indie titles of the last couple of years, Moonlighter, has recently made its way onto Game Pass. If Moonlighter were only a dungeon crawler, it would still be a great game, with excellent art direction and some of the best character animations out there. Moonlighter is a satisfying loot crawler with a myriad of unique enemies to fight and more loot than the protagonist's comically huge backpack can hold. But what makes Moonlighter stand out from the crowd is that when you're done slaying and looting, you lug your treasures back to town and sell them in your shop, generating income with which you can upgrade your shop in order to sell even more loot, and to upgrade the town so that you can craft better weapons and armor in order to delve further into the dungeons to slay bigger monsters and gather even more rare loot to sell. Running your shop is a game in itself, with each item having an ideal price point between underpriced and overpriced, and you need to gauge your customers' reactions to work out if you need to adjust the price accordingly. Flooding the market with too much of a particular item will affect the price, as will holding back stock of an item. And if this wasn't enough, you'll also have to deal with pesky shoplifters. The balance between procedurally generated dungeon crawling and shop management is a brilliant twist on an overcrowded genre, and one which you will want to keep coming back to in search of that perfect piece of loot to sell for massive profits. Unlike many other run-based games, although you can and will die in the dungeon and drop most of the loot you are carrying, you could warp out of the dungeons at any point at no cost and save the loot you've acquired, so when real life comes knocking, you can put the game down and come back later without losing any progress. Speaking of run-based procedural games with roguelike mechanics, one of the most unique looking examples of the genre I have ever seen is Goner. Playing like a cross between Downwell and Celeste, Goner is a run-based action platformer that disguises its often punishing difficulty behind an addictively fun gameplay loop, and one of the more unique aesthetics I've ever seen in the genre. Blast, stomp and jump your way through room after hand-drawn room of challenging platforming and pesky enemies, picking up new weapons, backpacks and upgrades along the way until you beat the boss of that world, or, as is more likely, you die and start over again. Any new weapons or upgrades you have collected along the way will be saved, which is typical for the genre. In fact, Goner doesn't do anything particularly new with the genre at all, but it feels so damn good to play and is wrapped up in this crunchy, distorted audiovisual design that has me smiling every time I play it. So that's 5 hidden gems for Lapsed Gamers currently available on Xbox Game Pass. If you found any games on the service that you think we should check out, let us know in the comments below, or let us know on Twitter @LapsedGamer. As always, you can find Lapsed Gamer Radio podcast on Podbean or Apple Podcasts or whatever podcast service you use, and you can find our written content over at lapsedgamer.com. If you enjoyed this video, please consider giving it a like and sub to the channel if you'd like to see more videos like this. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you on the next episode of LGR Play.